It's just one of those games where I want to be alone.
Psychos and sickos unite for a man, I hate this music edition of the PHNX Suns postgame show, of course brought to you by our friends over at Bet365. Download the Bet365 app, use code PHNX365, deposit 10, place a bet for 5, get $200 in bonus bets as the Phoenix Suns drop to just 10 games over 500 with a blowout loss to the Los Angeles Clippers, 117-93. I'm Eric, that's Skill. We got Espo and the freckled Mamba behind the Mac, making all of the magic happen. Of course, none of the magic can happen without all of you in chat, but there was no magic tonight on the court for the Suns. A thorough ass kicking up and down basically the entire game for the Clippers. The Suns were too small. They couldn't hit a shot. It was a rough night for a greenless, bookless Phoenix Suns team.
What are you talking about? No magic. The Suns' rebounding ability disappeared.
Ooh, voila.
But yeah, it was ugly. It was an ugly game. A lot happened. I know coming into the day, we saw James Harden was going to be available for the Clippers and thought that might leave them a little in disarray, but they leaned into the advantages that they had as far as their size and their star power with Kawhi Leonard, and they didn't have the greatest night for them as far as like some of the things that they do, but they made up for it by cleaning up the glass. And that was kind of where the differences started, and they dominated inside the paint. And hopefully it's not a trend that other teams replicate. Not everybody has that that personnel, but you saw some things that got exposed from the Suns team.
Jiggle a handle, try to flush. If it doesn't, get the plunger, try again. Just flush this one. It was awful. It was weird. And it was just a game that you just got to forget about when you're 10 games over 500 and you got more business to take care of coming up this week. Just forget it.
Yeah, I mean, look, this is a tough loss, especially that second half there. LA putting 36 points on in the third, 32 points on in the fourth. The Suns just kind of slowly dying in that second half for a variety of reasons. It's not the end of the world, right? This is a team in Los Angeles that has been literally playing like the best team in the NBA for the last 20 games. That is an extended sample size, even without James Harden. Clearly, they're very talented, and they present, I don't want to say a unique challenge for the Suns, because it's a challenge that the Suns have been failing for a lot of the season when it comes to size, which I think we need to get into off the bat. Let's take a look at the size differential and some of these numbers. Let's take a look at by the numbers. Of course, the only one that matters, 117-93, the Clippers pick up a win. Field goal percentage, the Clippers shot 51.8% from the field to Phoenix's 33.3%. Three-point percentage, the Suns actually shot better, 41.3% from deep to LA's 37.5. LA only hit 1-3 in the first half. They were still up. LA had 4 more assists, shot about the same from the line, which is crazy considering that LA is one of the best free throw shooting teams in the NBA. And the Clippers turned the ball over 18 times to the Suns 5. But Gil, it's a number that's not on this graphic here that is the real light to be shown on why the Suns lost this game to the Clippers.
Yeah, the rebounds, 63-35. Doesn't even feel right to say out loud. 63-35. It feels like they're playing two different sports when you have that big of a margin on the glass. Ivica Zubac set the tone, had 20 boards on his own. John Collins had 9 boards. Kawhi Leonard had 8 boards in that game. Batum had 8 boards off the bench, and they dominated the glass. And then hand in hand with that, they dominated the points in the paint. 64 points in the paint to 18. Again, feels like they're playing two different sports as far as that goes. The Suns were 9 of 34 inside the painted area, as Hubie Brown would say. So that's just pure dominance and taking advantage of the size that they have over the Suns.
You know it's bad when the gap in rebounding is larger than the gap in Leonardo DiCaprio and his girlfriend's ages. You lost the rebounding battle by 28 tonight. Like, that's bad.
Very bad.
I mean, that's
Very bad.
That's awful. And this is the massive Achilles heel with this team is size. And they don't have it. I don't know that you can solve it because I don't know that there's a trade that you're going to be able to make or that you're willing to make that can fix that right now. So you've got to, in these kind of games, go out there and find a way to close that rebounding margin and shoot better inside the arc, because tonight you hit your threes where, at a 41% clip and you couldn't hit anything else. And that is just, it's a recipe for disaster. I get it. You got two guys that are proficiently score inside the arc for you, and Devin Booker and Jalen Green sitting on that bench, but whoo, tonight was ugly.
Well, and that's kind of the thing, right? You look at that mid-range scoring or the 2-point scoring and you say, okay, having your two guys back that can operate the best in there helps. Plus, sometimes you just have an off night from the mid-range. Like Dillon Brooks had a very off night tonight. I have some things to say about that. Grayson Allen inside the arc did not have a great night tonight. He got up a ton of shots outside the arc, but he at least hit a couple more of them. Like Collin only hit from outside. Royce only hit from outside. You did not get any production in the paint or in the mid-range area. Those are two things with the guys that you were missing. You could be like, okay, it's explainable at least. Not excusable, but explainable. It's the other thing that worries me, right? And I'll give credit. There have been people in the chat who have been kind of pointing to this for a while when it comes to the Suns front court, who I do think overall have played well this season. I think both Mark Williams and Oso Ighodaro have been positives on the court. But we are now in February. Happy February to everybody. And there is a consistent theme when we play certain teams. And that's teams like the Clippers with Zubac, right? Who is a good center, but not like an all-time great center. Or an Andre Drummond, right? These big-bodied centers, Mark Williams and Oso Ighodaro, do not have good enough games against them. So my question for you guys is that concerning to you at all? And something that you would maybe want to address on Thursday before the trade deadline?
I mean, it's certainly concerning because we keep seeing the same problem, and you're going to run into size when you get to the playoffs. But again, I don't think that you can solve it before the trade deadline. Unless you're going to try to make some kind of seismic move, which I just don't think they're willing to do. So you're going to have to concede some of that. But what I think, and somebody in the chat, forgive me, I forget who said Jordan Ott didn't adjust. I don't know that it's 100% true, but I do believe that Jordan Ott's going to have to figure out a way to scheme to leverage what's your strength against a bigger team and try to force them to play to some of what you do, which they didn't do effectively tonight. So there's no easy answer on this one. I don't know, Gil, if you look at something and see some kind of deal or something else you can do, but for me, I'm at a loss. There's just really not. So.
It's tough. And I don't want to overreact too much because there is a trend. And I will say you have to acknowledge that this team held its own despite Jalen Dunn having a good game a couple nights ago, and Jared Allen had a good start, but then and again, they're not Ivica Zubac, but more than just the numbers. And there was a possession, Espo, I think it was you, when it was a bunch of 50-50 balls, and the Clippers got like 3 or 4 offensive rebounds on the same possession because the Suns just couldn't wrangle it in. And that is what's more concerning than anything else as well. I think that even spiked those numbers even more because you said this kind of sums up how this game has gone all game. Like the ball just kind of like went over Oso Ighodaro's hands and like slipped through Jordan Goodwin's hands, and the Clippers ended up getting a couple opportunities and eventually took advantage and scored. And that was something that happened throughout the night, which is a little more uncharacteristic of this team that, maybe they're tired. The emotionally charged couple games the other night, some guys didn't have it offensively. The Clippers are imposing their will physically, and then it kind of knocks you off your balance. So, that was also concerning in addition to that. As far as addressing the issue of getting a big man, I agree. I don't know if they have the time or the assets or if it's worth taking that swing, and you just got to roll the dice with what you have and hope you get a good matchup because ultimately probably 50-50 chance you run to a guy like this in the postseason.
Eric, did they make a mistake by sending the 2 young guys to the Valley Suns?
Does that help?
I mean,
Try
Shear's got a little bit more size, obviously, man.
Sure.
Size. It maybe gives you a few more options to try to throw something out there. Now, I know they've been hesitant to do that, and maybe they wouldn't have done it at all, but you are at a size deficit. You knew that coming into this game. It struck me as a little odd when you considered it.
I feel like with Kaman specifically, this would have been a nightmare matchup for him. I mean, he's not helping you tonight, right? And Rasheer certainly, I guess, could. He's shown that maybe the most passable offensive skill that he has right now is going and crashing the boards and retaining possessions. But the way that I kind of see it is I think this is a lot more of a roster problem. I do think that Mark Williams is certainly a good center, and I don't want to sit here and act like the Suns center rotation sucks. This is the best Suns center rotation we've actually had in quite some time, and we've been singing their praises. They just both kind of have the same weakness, and that is against these big burly guys. I also think the fact that you don't have a big rebounding power forward, which sure slides into the Rasheer thing, but those guys, they just don't play, right? So I almost like don't even consider that. We've had that conversation before. I'd like to see them. They clearly haven't earned it. But not having a big bruising four or somebody that can play two bigs like Oso and Mark not being able to play together, or maybe not having Nick Richards be able to play so that those two can play together and then get a break, I think kind of puts this team in a disadvantage to where it's like not only is Mark or Oso undersized, but now Royce is crashing. Like your best rebounders are Jordan Goodwin, who's 6'4",
which isn't sustainable against a big team. Like
Collin Gillespie, who's like 6'2", right? Who else? Royce O'Neal, who's 6'4", 6'5". Ryan Dunn, who can't hit a shot to save his life.
Really couldn't get a rebound tonight very effectively either time.
Yeah, Isaiah Livers, who's on a two-way and barely plays. Like, these are the guys that are getting your boards if it's not Mark Williams or Oso. And, like, Mark had 7 tonight, Gil, but it's just not enough to look at, okay, 7 rebounds is okay. It's what did the other team do? And that's just physically dominate him.
Physically dominating. And one play stands out in addition to the one that was 50-50, but it was Oso couldn't get a body on Zubac, and it ended up being a loose ball foul on him. It wasn't an offensive rebound per se for the Clippers, but you see that happen oftentimes, and you kind of just watch it, and that's when the gang rebounding part of it comes in. And I think I'm curious to, how do you combat that? Do you face box out? Do you try to scheme differently? And, this upcoming week, looking at the next matchups and how it is. And we've seen these guys play really well and bring a lot of good things to the front court. But tonight it was almost like everything that could go wrong matchup-wise for them did go wrong. I mean, Zubac's at 11 boards in the first half. So you kind of knew what kind of night it was going to be. Even when the game was still within reach, you saw things trending a certain way. So, we talk so much about gang rebounding when it's a guy like that coming into tonight. I don't think we were even that worried about Zubac on the boards to this extent. And they saw an opportunity and took advantage of it over and over and over and over again.
Do you think this is a different game, though, if Booker and Green play, because you have more of a scoring punch that isn't just reliant on the three? Because, the rebounding disadvantage was huge, but then you look at the other factors. You forced 13 more turnovers than they had. You had 10 more shots than they had. Like there were little things that, if you were shooting better, maybe it's not as ridiculous as this looks, and maybe we're not sitting here hitting the panic button on the rebounding side. I just
there are less rebounds to grab.
Yeah,
like those. It was kind of like 2 and 2, right? Because I mean, the Suns missed a ton of 2-point shots, which a lot of times are easy rebounds. Like when you look at the easy offensive rebounds that teams get, they come from threes because the ball bounces out farther, right? I mean, the Suns only got out rebounded on the offensive rebounding margin 15-10. Yeah, that's not crazy. Now, the Clippers converted a lot on those second chance points, so it felt like they were more effective, but it was defensive rebounding that was really the problem, Gil. Like, you just snuffed away so many possessions where on a night where everybody else is going cold, usually you can rely on, okay, Book's going to hit a couple more of those shots, Green's going to hit a couple more shots, and when a guy like Dillon is 7-20 and Grayson Allen is 7-21, they're going to be taking less shots, which should, in theory, shrink that rebounding margin a decent amount.
Yeah.
Right, and thinking about what Espo was saying, I think back to one of the lineups where Ryan Dunn was in the game, and the Clippers had the double big lineup of Lopez and Zubac. And I won't pretend to be super tapped into the Clippers lineups and rotations, but it was hard to kind of even gauge what they were going to do because they were without their starting point guard. So I didn't know how they were going to adjust. But to that point, if Book and Jalen Green are active, they're making more shots. and you probably can't have that lineup in for as long as you do have it, because they could stick them on guys that they were going to live with Ryan Dunn shooting that shot. He wasn't able to get any to go today, so they were able to have that advantage of those double big lineups. They always do Collin Zubac, but now they're able to mix and match Collin Zubac, Collins Lopez, Lopez Zubac, and that gave them such a big size advantage, especially knowing that Lopez can space the floor, Collins can space the floor. So it works both ways, and that the Suns not having their full complement of players limited them, and it allowed the Clippers to take advantage probably even more than they would have on a normal night.
Yeah, this is a game that leaves you kind of searching for answers where I don't know if there are any.
Sure.
It could just be weird game.
It was a weird game.
And you can't really glean a huge amount other than, it'd be nice if you had another 7-footer that knew how to grab rebounds.
I mean, every team has weaknesses, and nobody has said this is a perfect team. I do believe they've spoiled us, and now I don't know if fans can fully handle losing games, which I think is very funny considering where we were mentally going into it. But I'm not trying to be alarmist about one game, and I think that people who are crashing out over this game, it is a gross overreaction. I do think that if you are looking at a distinct weakness of this team, it is that. That's okay, because they do so many other things great. They just didn't happen to do them great tonight, which is a lot of what we're going to continue to talk about, including a question in the chat from LeBron Allstat. Maybe you're trying to say All-Star and you were just premonition about what was going to happen earlier today. But asked, what about that free throw disparity? We'll talk about that. What else the Suns did wrong? Our blue-collar boy, our dude of the night, who you will not expect on the other side of our first break. That game was so bad, you might want to get high after it. Well, you can check out Pure Edibles. Not only is Pure Edibles founded in Arizona and available in 130 dispensaries statewide, they're just delicious and they make you feel good, but they don't just tell you sativa, indica, hybrid, because that can make you feel so many different ways. They're crafted so well, they'll tell you exactly how you want to feel. Gil, if you want to feel relaxed, you can feel relaxed. Esco, if you need help sleeping, guess what? They're going to help you sleep because they use a unique blend of cannabinoids such as CBN, CBG, and CBD, of course with THC, to give you the effect that you desire. Plus, Pure gummies are designed to be ripped or bit in half, making them easily shareable and easy to dial in your exact dose. I'd highly recommend trying them, going low, and then working your way up to figure out exactly what works for you. But they taste good, they feel good, and you can basically customize your experience with Pure Edibles. Go find yourself some Pure Edibles products from one of the over 130 dispensaries across Arizona.
I got out rebound by 28 because I got high. Sorry. Our friends at Bet365, they are never ordinary when it comes to Bet365. Over 90 million people worldwide, including Gil and Eric, and Ayrton for that matter, use Bet365, and you should too, because you can place bets on anything that you're looking at, including the big game coming up next weekend. You can figure out who you want to win there and who you think's going to win. And breaking news from Bet365, new customers now get $200 in bonus bets when you bet $5, win or lose. Sign up using that promo code PHNX365. Deposit 10 and place a bet for $5 to get $200 in bonus bets if you win or lose. Bonus bets can be used on spreads, totals, player props, futures, and more. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary with Bet365. Must be 21 and over. Physically located in Arizona. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP. Text NEXT STEP to 53342 or visit problemgambling.az.gov. What do you laugh at, Eric?
Well, so Killer X in the chat, which I'll get to in a second, and I'll address what you're saying. I was laughing at Ayrton's comment back to him. Please hit the like button. Please hit the subscribe button. Hey, the Suns lost. Guess what? Not our fault. So
it is.
Well, maybe
we didn't
we
rebound tonight.
It's fine. None of us grabbed any rebounds in here.
Big old zero.
We also hit the same amount of shots as Ryan Dunn. There you go, Killer X. That one was for you.
Man hoops. I'm sorry. Dunn is a 6'8" Landry Shamet. Landry Shamet went like 6 of 10 from deep tonight and had 23 points.
This is gonna sound so disrespectful, but if Ryan Dunn had Landry Shamet's game, like offensively, he'd be starting for this team. Anyway, we can get to Ryan Dunn in a second. I want to talk about the free throw discrepancy because LeBron, I'm just going to call you LeBron. LeBron in the chat was like, what's up with the free throw discrepancy? So the Clippers took 34. They hit 22 of 34, which means this could have been an even more thorough ass kicking if they hit their normal percentage from the line. The Suns took 18. They were 12 of 18 for 67%. Now, Gil, correct me if I'm wrong, but the way that I see it was not that this was a poorly officiated game at all.
No.
But that the Clippers were like, oh, wow, I see food down low.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go eat. And the Suns, again, like we mentioned in the first segment, not being big enough to stop it, whereas the Suns were taking contested mid-range shots that weren't falling in a lot more threes.
Basically, you said Scott Foster did his thing. You said the officiating.
He did an okay job tonight.
Oh, there you go. I just want to hear you say
Quick reviews. That was nice.
Except for that one review that, right?
I mean, the Oso dunk, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
I get that. Like, I don't
that's
like it.
part of the game.
I'm just gonna say it. He was making us pay the price for Chris Paul being good here. So,
Which is funny though, because Chris Paul's technically still on the Clippers, so like you would think that he would.
no, he appreciates that they sent him home.
See,
See,
petty.
That's how you treat Chris Paul.
He's being
Scott
petty.
Foster.
I will say though, to your point, I think yes, like the Clippers took advantage of their size advantage, so they were playing a different style of basketball. The Suns took twice as many 3-pointers, basically. So typically, when you see a team shoot that much on the perimeter, they're not going to get to the line as much as a team that took the majority of their baskets or the field goal attempts from inside the arc. So, free throw discrepancy, maybe 2 or 3 calls here and there, but I would think that it was pretty well officiated. I didn't think anything egregious, because if it was, you would be the first to say,
oh, yeah, no,
like, this is bad, this is a problem, like, why'd they take...
I never blame the refs.
Right. Not at all, not at all. So
I mean, they were no worse than they usually are.
Right, yeah.
Actually, I thought they were a little better. Honestly, like, I
better
had
than
a lot of
normal.
problems with tonight.
basically like a C.
Like,
plus.
usually I'm pretty upset about it during the game because there's always some crap, but I didn't feel like that tonight. It was just it was a rough night for the Suns overall. They weren't hitting shots. And look, for Killer Rex in here, who I know a lot of the times can be a little abrasive, and I'm sure that Killer Rex is taking that as a compliment, there does need to be a conversation about Ryan Dunn. Now, again, none of this is the end of the world. The Suns are 10 games above 500. No Booker, no Jalen Green tonight. Like, they have flaws, but they're still a good team. That being said, when they win, we don't usually talk about stuff like this. I am getting worried about Ryan Dunn. And I've said it a couple of times here to where I'm not loving what I'm seeing from him, and I can see the coaching staff agreeing with that based off of the amount of minutes and when his minutes are coming. Tonight, 12 points, including being in I'd say the victory cigar.
12 minutes.
12 minutes tonight. I'd say the victory cigar, but it's like the losing cigar. He was in at the end with Rasheer and Kaman and Liver, like the lineup where it's like, we give up. He was the white flag lineup. 0 points.
I thought that was Cooper.
0 of 5 from the field. 0 of 1 from deep. 0 of 2 from the free throw line. Only 2 rebounds, and 3 fouls. Are we worried about Ryan Dunn regressing this year?
I think he already has. I don't think it's worried about him potentially. Ryan Dunn has regressed. He's not as sharp defensively. He has lost even the glimmer of could he potentially hit threes on a regular basis. I am extremely worried about where Ryan Dunn is, and I think at some point Rasheer Fleming is going to be ahead of him in their playing, whether it's the tail end of this year or it's next year. I think Ryan Dunn has done himself a disservice throughout this year. He was a starter, fell out of that. Was supposed to be a key piece on the bench. Now he's getting less and less minutes. He looks less confident out there. He does not seem to be, doing the hustle things as often or having the put back dunks as often. And I feel like, I don't know if it's mental. I don't know if it's just we over projected what this guy could be last year because he was doing things on a team that showed no effort. So he was like the only blue collar guy last year, and so it just looked better by comparison. But right now, Ryan Dunn is barely hanging on to a rotation spot, and every chance he's been getting lately, I feel like he's not taking advantage to show why he should remain in the rotation.
And it's a conversation that we've been having for a while, Espo. Like, I think it was when first game of the season that he had under 10 minutes was maybe a week and a half, 10 days ago, 14 days ago when they were on the road trip. And we said, I wonder if he's trying to play through something, not injury-wise, but play through some type of confidence issue and trying to figure out if he's lost and what he's supposed to be doing, what he's supposed to bring to the table, what this team is looking for from him. And we thought the answer was to simplify it. Just play really hard, crash the glass, offensively and defensively, and be active on defense. Now, maybe it's easier said than done, but I do feel like, no pun intended, but I do feel like there's been something lost in translation, and he's not really remembering what he's capable of doing or what he's done before all at this level. And now you continue to see regression from spots where at least he was doing this. Well, it's like, well, now he's not doing that anymore. And what you said, I think it's time to give those minutes to Rasheer and see what he does with him, because at this point it can't be any worse, or it could give you something different, and maybe he adds a different impact and lights a fire under Ryan, because something has got to change.
Eric, do you think it looks even worse though because of the progression we've seen with Oso, where he's been more aggressive, he's doing little things to have an impact, where Ryan feels like he's heading the other direction?
I mean, yes, I think it looks worse that Isaiah Livers pops when he's on the court. Like Isaiah Livers isn't putting up good stats. He played 14 minutes tonight. He's playing better than Ryan Dunn. He's doing all the things that we felt like baseline Ryan Dunn should be doing. Defending his ass off, making big highlight defensive plays, hustling, and then hitting shots when he has a chance. Now, tonight he was 1 of 3, but hey, he was 1 of 3, not 0 of 5. I'm not giving up on Dunn, and I think, people are kind of torn in the chat because a lot of people are talking about he's just a second-year player. And yeah, there is still a lot of room for him to grow. I'm not giving up on him yet. You also have to understand that he was an end of the first round pick, last season. And I was very high on him this season. And so far that hasn't come true. I still think there is a future for Ryan Dunn in the league, but he can't play like this, man. Like if it's going to be a problem for him mentally to be able to get out here and do things, like Isaiah Livers is on a 2-way. Isaiah Livers will go multiple games just straight up without playing. Has Isaiah Livers ever looked not confident on the court when he's played?
No, I think he comes out there and looks confident.
And that's what I'm saying is, like, Ryan Dunn, maybe you're losing your minutes. When we can sit here and say it looks like you're losing your confidence, you're not doing yourself any favors. And maybe it's unfair because he can't play next to the starters anymore and he's playing next to other guys who can't shoot and create, but he needs to be better.
Yeah, all these other guys are playing
100%.
Same guys. That's the problem, Like,
I'm not giving up on him, but like it's been a very, like, out of a season full of guys that have risen to the occasion. Dillon Brooks, right? I think Devin Booker's had a great season. I think Grayson and Royce have exceeded expectations. I even think Mark has exceeded expectations. Collin, Oso, like everybody in the rotation, I feel like has played at a higher level than a lot of people expected them to, except for him. And that's also probably why it stands out. Not just because it's Oso, but because he's on a good team now and his minutes should be impactful and meaningful, Gil, and they're just not.
It stands out because we've seen it in spots too, right? Like I think back to the Oklahoma City game when we were praising him for knocking down a couple shots and picking up Shea full court and being active. When he went on the road to LA and he came back from injury, he had a dunk. And we talked about him getting his one highlight play a game. So we've seen the things and we hang on to these moments from him, and it's almost like bottle that up and do it more, do it consistently. And again, it's easy to say from this chair, but it doesn't seem like they're big asks and big things that they're asking to do, but play hard and be consistent in your effort and be consistent in your ability to have that confidence to knock down a shot. You're not going to make all of them, but shoot it confidently and pick up and use your tools defensively. And that's wavering. I think that's what makes it look so bad, because we've seen what it looks like and he's shown the capability of doing it. And that's why it's like, okay, what's not connecting to allow him to do this with regularity?
The defensive side is got to be the most concerning, because we knew the offense would kind of ebb and flow. But defensively, he looks like a different guy at times this year too. And if you've lost confidence in what your main skill set is, that's a problem. That'd be like us, Eric, you and I thinking we couldn't talk anymore.
Yeah, it's not good. I will say that it's not good. I am concerned about it. I am certainly keeping an eye on it. I know everybody here is. I won't speak for all of you guys, but I'm not giving up on him yet because progression isn't linear, and I don't think the Suns are giving up on him yet, but he has to play better or he's going to lose his rotation spot. And there is a guy in the wings in Rasheer Fleming to where the measurables, the potential, the scoring comfortability that we've seen just so far, it is a lot higher of a ceiling than what, in theory, Ryan Dunn could bring. But we've seen Dunn hit higher highs than Rasheer has, obviously, in the NBA. Like, we've seen it. And so it's a touchy situation. I still believe in him, but he's got to be better.
And can I say something? I know people are saying, like, Ryan Dunn's not the problem. I don't think any of us are saying Ryan Dunn is the problem.
Change the thumbnail.
But the concern is that he could be a part of the solution if he was doing what
Sure.
we think he's capable of doing. And I think it's worth diving into why he can't be a big part of this puzzle piece, especially in a system where, as you pointed out, everybody has risen their level. Their play has risen this year, and everybody's improved and gotten better and found a way to kind of consistently do that. And why hasn't he done that? And he could fix a lot of the issues that this team has, given the physical profile and his strengths.
I'm at the point where if they came to me and they said on Thursday, we've dealt him and a Royce or somebody for a piece that we think is big enough that can help us, I wouldn't bat an eye that he was included. Where over the summer, I'd probably be like, really? We're going to go that route? But so that's kind of where he's fallen off for me, is where I wouldn't even think twice about him being included in something right now. And whether that's fair or not, it's just the reality of this entire team has lifted the floor of where they are. And he seems, to your point, Eric, earlier, to have kind of fallen behind where the rest of these guys are lifting up their game.
Look, I wouldn't be happy about it, but I'd be a lot less mad about it now than I would have been 6 months ago or 3 months ago, or to be honest with you, 3 weeks ago. It's been a really rough stretch from him. And maybe if you look on the bright side for him individually in his career, like, it's hard to say because we think the Suns are a great situation for everybody, but maybe he needs to be in a situation when he's developing his game that isn't as high leverage basketball, right? Because when he started coming on for the Suns last year, guess what? This season was crap. Like, we were so bad. We were so bad. And he was able to get that spark, and I'm sure that sparked confidence in himself this year. Suns are great without him. And that's not just trying to take a knock at him. Like, the Suns have been great without a lot of players this year, including Jalen Green. But you're sitting on the bench, and instead of being like, damn, I could be going in there and doing this that they're not doing, you're going on the bench and you're seeing Isaiah Livers do what you've been doing. You know, Jordan Goodwin do what you've been doing. Like, Jordan Goodwin's like low-key kind of what we thought Ryan Dunn could be in a sense, where it's like streaky from three, but progression, a rebounder, and a POA nightmare. He's not any of those things this year.
Well, Ramon said it best. We have not once said welcome to the dungeon.
No.
This year.
I've tweeted very few times about Ryan Dunn, and that if you would have told me that at the beginning of the season, I would have been concerned for my health.
Yeah, but that was what we, like, if he was going out there and he was locking down guys on defense,
He'd be getting minutes.
We wouldn't care. Like, just like when Jordan Goodwin would go, 0 for 5 from deep or whatever in a night. You didn't care because he was rebounding, he was putting pressure on the defensive end. If Ryan was doing that, Gil, I don't think any of us would say a word about it right now.
Deflections, picking guys up 90, 94 feet, little things that, again, we've seen him do. So it's not like, can he do this or not? Like, you guys saw it last year when he was a rookie. So the fact that it's year 2 in a system that he's being asked flat out to do that, and he's shown us the capability to do it against really good players. It wasn't like he was doing it against somebody at the end of the Thunder's bench. It was Shai Gilgeous-Alexander in a big game that the Suns won. He has had a hand in wins this season, and I think, like, the proof of concept of you being able to contribute to this team's success is right there. So there shouldn't be any confusion on why you've fallen out of the rotation, because you've done these things that have allowed this team to succeed, and when you're not doing it, it's time to maybe see if somebody else can.
Yeah.
Look, I think that's good for a Ryan Dunn conversation for now. The thing is that when you play like he's been playing and the Suns have been winning in a post-game show, where we're usually going to skew overall positive because there are a lot of positive things to talk about. I think Ryan Dunn, unfortunately, tonight played like this in a pretty bad loss where we don't have as much to talk about. We will give out some awards, though, and we will talk a little positive. Plus, we'll talk about the injury updates we got on Devin Booker and Jalen Green. We'll talk to Steven. We'll get into all of that on the other side of our second break. Look, we already know that Phoenix is one of the best sports cities in America. Maybe not tonight. But this spring, it's about to raise the bar to a whole new level. Mark your calendars. March 5th through the 8th, you gotta be at Phoenix Raceway, because for the first time ever, NASCAR and NTT IndyCar Series are racing during the same weekend at Phoenix Raceway, and you can get a front row seat to all of it. Nothing delivers the intensity of race weekend like the engines firing, the smell of rubber burning, the crowd erupting the field as they charge around turn 1. It's the kind of energy you really have to feel in person to understand. Plus, it's such a beautiful venue. Espino, we've been out there. It's in the side of mountains. You drive up, feels like there's nothing there, and then all of a sudden you kind of get over this little hill, and boom, it's beautiful. It's Phoenix Raceway.
I was there.
Look, there are ticket options, camping options. You can watch the 2025 Cup Series champion Kyle Larson return to the track that he won it all just a couple of months prior. NASCAR NDT Series, one weekend, March 5th through the 8th for the first time ever. Secure your seats now at the link in our description.
Gil, you ever buy tickets to a sporting event and realize you overpaid or that your seat was just not where you wanted to be?
More times than I'd like to admit.
Well, then you have just not done it right, because Game Time is where you can make sure that you take care of all that. They got the best prices, they got the best options, and really the best part is you can, in most cases, see exactly where your seat's going to be, or you can do the zone deal, which is pretty good. You pick a section, you let Game Time choose where the seat is, but you get the best deal possible for it as well. I love using Game Time. I've used it for concerts. I've used it for sporting events. You know, every once in a while, I like dabbling going to the theater. You can look at anything that you're looking for tickets for. It's not me. It's my wife and my daughter. But and you can take the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets, too, with Game Time. You can get a Suns game for cheap, one of those 5 that they got coming up at home soon. So download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the promo code PHNX for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem the code PHNX for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today.
Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. I'm not going to read your comment, Braden Green, but I will say it's pretty funny. Let's go ahead and name our...
I'll read it. Have you bought tickets to a sporting event and realized, damn, I just paid to watch Ryan Dunn suck at basketball?
I feel bad.
I think there are about 17,000 of them tonight.
I still believe, man. I still believe. Before we get to our...
That was mean.
It was very mean. Those were not Espo's words, even though somebody will definitely clip
No,
that.
I read them.
Let's go ahead and give out our blue collar boy of the night. First things first, it goes to Jordan Goodwin. Let's also give out our love the play of the night, presented by our friends over at Arizona Lottery, because these things go hand in hand. Really, the only time that I felt anything in this game was a sequence from Jordan Goodwin where he hits a 3, goes down on the other end, pokes the ball out, and then throws it against, I don't even know who it was.
And then flexes.
I
think it was Collin.
It was John Collins.
Yeah, John Collins, who had a great game tonight.
Went to that crappy school.
Yeah, but Jordan Goodwin, man, even in games like this where the Suns just kind of didn't have it, he still has his moments and his stretches, and I think he's a deserving blue-collar boy tonight.
Certainly.
It feels like on nights like this, like he's going to keep that standard of blue-collarness regardless of everything else that's going on, and that play specifically stands out because he does it like once a game, and sometimes the camera catches it, sometimes it doesn't, but he's hyping himself up, and he's yelling, he's beating his chest, and nobody else might care, but he cares and gets fired up about that stuff. They usually pan to the bench, and the bench is like giggling, laughing at how fired up he gets at that stuff. Which
but the crowd's getting
and the crowd loves it, and the fact that like he is that guy for this team. I think every fun team, every lovable team has a guy like that. And it's cool to see Jordan Goodwin be that guy.
Yeah, it's been really nice to continue to watch him play. Hitting some threes tonight for him as well. 4 of 7 from deep. Also grabbed 6 boards for his 12 points in just 24 minutes. I wish he could play all 48 minutes.
He probably would if you let him.
At this point, yeah, honestly, probably. Well, look, we've said Jordan Goodwin's name 3 times, which makes a lot of sense. Yeah, well, he doesn't appear, but it's time for our post-mortem.
Man, it was us in the body bag tonight.
Yeah, the morgue claimed another victim tonight. It was my happiness, but now I got my spark back because Steven Prejean Gardner is calling in from the morgue after the Phoenix Suns get blown out by the Los Angeles Clippers 117-93. Steven, yikes?
Yeah, yikes indeed. Shout out to the Clippers, first of all. 17-4 since December 20th. By far the best record in the NBA in that stretch. A top 10 defense for a team that's been a top 5 offense in personnel and efficiency and talent. It's pretty good. And that's without their kind of engine on offense in James Harden. How much of a luxury is that? You just don't have James Harden for personal reasons, which we hope everything's okay with him on that side. And you just default to, okay, hey Kawhi, you want to handle the ball a little more? Zubac, you want a couple more post-ups? And you just get efficient offense out of that still while also getting, I think the defense gets better in respect to James Harden, but when he's not on the court, it's a good basketball team right there that you wanted to have the tiebreaker with if you could have went and got this one tonight.
Yeah, he talked about a lot of things that the Suns did do and the Clippers took advantage of, and the rebounding and points in the paint stand out so much. How concerned are you about this Suns team when they are at a disadvantage, a size disadvantage against a team? I know there aren't that many Ivica Zubacs in the league and aren't that many teams that can run a lineup like Zubac and Lopez, but we saw the Clippers press that button throughout the night. Do you think they gave an outline for the rest of the league in this Suns team?
Yeah, they have some things that only maybe one or two other teams in the West can really do in a way that is not shifting away from, their typical approach to the game. And this was not a lineup that we've really seen the Clippers use much at all this season with both of those bigs on the floor at the same time. But at the same time, though, I think it's something to keep in mind. I'm not gonna say panic or worry about it, but definitely keep the receipts because it's, for all intents and purposes, could be a team the Suns see again down the line in more meaningful games. The rebound part I worry significantly lesser about because it's not going to be many nights where they're shooting in the 20s from 2-point range. And I think the fact that they missed so many shots, and you're not getting offensive boards to the extent that you typically do. I think they only had 10 tonight. Like those rebounds got to go to somebody, and if you're not getting them and you're missing a lot of those shots, the math is there as far as the solution to that. But the double big part, and I think the points in the paint is something that's relevant because outside of Grayson, they're operating without Devin and Jalen, but who else was consistently getting a paint touch and creating? Like Grayson accounted for 50.5% of the offense tonight between his points scored and assists. That's a lot on one person's shoulder, and I think there's gift and curse with that. The positive side is you want these reps for Grayson, but the negative side is you want to be able to kind of better navigate a game like this one. And outside of shots that came from him or were created by him, wasn't really the prettiest so far tonight.
How much of that is simply you've got so many of these guys that have to, go from, oh, I was third string, that now I'm the guy they're relying on in that first wave coming off the bench, or these bench guys that are starting? Like, was this just a moment of you had two hard fought games that you came out and you kicked some ass the last couple of nights, and tonight you didn't have it shooting wise, and they were just more physical than you?
Yeah, I think
sure
that's a
that was
good
a
point,
question.
Espo. That's kind of what I brought up in conversation with Dwayne and Kellen while we were kind of waiting for the players after the initial part of the post game. That's like these games are bound to happen when you're stretched so thin. Like strength in numbers is definitely something, but when you have to spend so much of the capital from your reserve unit to uphold the starting unit because you're without so many pieces of the starting unit, and it's that way for so long. Like they've operated without their reserve unit fully intact this season more often than they actually have had it intact. And I think that kind of it weighs on you over time. Like these guys are professional athletes and everything, but they're also human too. Those things are going to weigh against you a little bit at some point, and I think you're going to win the back-to-back that they just did in that exact type of situation we're talking about. There's going to be some moment down the line where it's just not there, and this was kind of one of those nights for sure.
I know it was one of those nights, and it just felt like nothing was going the Suns' way, even though they won in a couple of departments. Were there any adjustments, maybe stylistically, that you wish you would have saw from them, from rotations to execution, defensive coverages, that you feel like maybe would have given them a chance to get back into the game?
Yeah, that's a good question, Eric. I think for me, the one thing I was kind of not necessarily hinting at in the keys, but when I mentioned just the defense and with Zubac in particular, like the Suns are a team that doubles in the post about, I think they're like 5th or 6th in terms of post up double team sent rate this season. I would rather have seen them instead of just the doubles from the top all game, which started to lead to predictability from the Clippers. They know that first person that's coming away from the passer is doubling in the post. So that first pass is going to be there if that person that's rotating from the nail is not early. You can pick up on a rhythm and cadence with that, even if they switch up the timing of that double. I would like to have seen them switch it up. Maybe after a timeout, Zubac or Kawhi is getting a post touch. Send that double from the opposite 45 and send that double from the baseline just to play with the timing of the reads and maybe spark a turnover. Turnovers force wasn't an issue, but scoring off of those turnovers definitely was a lot lower than normal. So maybe that's something that could spark the opportunity to get in transition and start to play the game on your terms just a little bit more. But I mean, this was a night where when you're without that much offense and they're able to operate the ways that they are, this is kind of quote unquote schedule loss. And we haven't really said that word much this season because the team clearly doesn't believe in schedule losses. That's why they are where they are in the West right now. So outside of that, Eric, not too much. I did like that they went to more guard screens. It's something we will see more when the team is healthy, where Mark Williams can kind of chill in the dunker spot, get after it on the O boards, get a little bit more lobs and dump off passes, things like that. But yeah, not too much to change. I think the script was the script tonight, and Kawhi Leonard is still a top 10 player when he's healthy.
Unfortunately. So, Steven, we're going to keep on talking about this game. Plus, we'll talk a little Booker All-Star, get some injury updates on Jalen Green and Devin Booker from pregame, because those are things we didn't get to talk to you about with pregame and our watch-along and everything. So we're going to get into all of that. Everybody hit the like button for Steven. Subscribe for Steven. We're going to keep it rolling here on PHNX Suns on the other side of our final break. Look, maybe you just want to get away because this game made you sad because we don't know how to deal with losing anymore. Well, you can always feel like a winner over at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. And right now, Gila's introducing Vegas vibes to Phoenix from now through April. So you got some time. The Vegas residency at Gila River Resorts and Casinos brings the energy, attitude, and excitement of Las Vegas right to you. Enjoy exclusive concerts, extended DJ sets, chef-driven dining, pop-up bars, surprise cameos, plus don't miss the fabulous Corvette giveaway and special perks for loyalty members. 4 Corvettes from 4 casinos, which means 4 chances to win big.
4 vets?
4 vets. It's pretty good. 4 verts, 4 vets, whatever you want to run with. January 16th through April 24th. Wild Horse Pass, Vequiva, Lone Butte, Santan Mountain. They're giving away Corvettes. Can I say that one more time? They're giving away Corvettes. For more information, visit playatgila.com to get your Corvette. Don't miss your chance to accelerate into luxury, play, earn, and gift at any one of their 4 casino locations.
If you don't win a Corvette, maybe you need some place to save your money so you can eventually buy one. Mountain America Credit Union's got you covered, and even though you might not want to tonight use a Suns debit card or credit card, you can tomorrow when you feel better about it. You can get it through Mountain America Credit Union. You can do it with the My Style checking account. Gil, you have fabulous style, but you can get the My Style checking account to get restaurant deals, mobile phone protection, telehealth access. I hate going to the doctor, but don't mind it when I don't have to actually go to the doctor, plus identity protection, loan rate discounts, offers on travel and events, and more. And you gotta love it when you can do it all with a Suns debit and or credit card. So make My Style your lifestyle at Mountain America Credit Union. Visit macu.com/mystyle to apply. Insured by NCUA. Membership required based on eligibility. Some benefits are required. No cost for registration and activation. Terms, conditions, and exclusions apply.
Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. All of you in chat, Steven, getting his work in during the breaks, as we appreciate all of y'all in the chat for always tapping in to support. Y'all are the real MVPs. Well, all of you that are subscribed to the channel. I'm going to be completely honest with you. You are the real MVPs.
The rest of you suck.
The rest of y'all are like six man of the year, all defense, like maybe like Western Conference player of the week. Like, you're here and we appreciate it. But
defensive player of the month.
Yeah, which the most of like clutch player of the year. We're talking like the top of the top.
Your 10-day contracts in my book, all right?
And some of you are literal MVPs by becoming a member, which only costs $5, like Braden and Kara and AJ and Deborah and Sean and N-Stacker in the chat. Get access to exclusive emojis and a prepaid super chat every single month that you are a member. Plus, you get extra breakdowns from Steven. You get extra content from all of the shows here on our YouTube channel. We don't just cover the Suns, we cover everything Arizona sports. So please hit that subscribe button. Help us get to 50,000 subscribers.
All right, so Steven, I don't think there's very much positive we could take from the actual game itself, but we could take some positive from the day itself. And you tweeted about it. We all tweeted about it. Devin Booker now a 5-time NBA All-Star. What are your thoughts on Book earning this honor to be an All-Star in 2026?
Yeah, I'll start with when I heard 5, like that's something you know, but then you think about, okay, 5 times he's been an all-star, but he's been all-star level for how long at this point? And like mentally, I'm like, okay, it's 5. So I'm putting the tweet together. And I'm like, wait a minute, this not adding up. Let me go double check because this 5 that seems significantly lesser than what it should be. Obviously, it is what it is. And I think the context of a few of those is what it is as well. Dude's great. He's been more than deserving. I think I said that in a tweet. And I think I think Jordan also mentioned it in pregame, but the coaches acknowledging him for how much he keeps them up at night, game plan wise, and then gives them arguments to go with their other coaches at halftime about coverages against him because he just has an answer for everything. That embodies an all-star. Also being the best player on a team that had 30-win betting guys this season, and you're already at that number now, speaks to someone also being an all-star. So shout out D-Book. He's an all-star, much earned, much deserved, and it's about time he started to get a little bit of what he's been due to receive for years now.
Well, not only is he an all-star, some would argue he picks up his second most honorable nomination tonight with his all-star selection because he's also our dude of the night presented by Gila River Resorts and Casinos. You do you at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. Visit playatgila.com for full details. No stats for Devin Booker tonight. He was on the broadcast, gave love to
Yeah, what did he say? I didn't get a chance to hear. I just saw that he was on the broadcast.
So for a roaring 2 questions, Devin Booker joined K-Ray and EJ tonight. He thanked the team for helping him get the All-Star nomination because he said, I've had better stats in the past and I haven't gotten it because my teams were not as good. So I'd like to shout out my team for being good so that I can get there. And then he also was talking about Dillon Brooks, saying how good he is. And then Dillon Brooks hit like one of his 2 shots that he hit all night while Book was talking about it. And Book was like, I've seen him work on that shot. And so for that reason, Book is our dude of the night. But I want to give the stat here and just kind of get everybody's thoughts on this. So Kellen Olson tweeted this. Devin Booker, now a 5-time All-Star, is tied for the 3rd most All-Star nomination for a Suns player in history. Amari Stoudemire has made it 5 times, so tied with Amari, who's in the building tonight, while the top is a tie between Steve Nash and Walter Davis at 6. So we could talk about the snubs, Espo, all the time for Book. He is 1 away from tying the Suns franchise record and 2 from setting it, and he's not 30.
Really, Devin Booker is towards the top of our franchise record books. I know people tend to not grasp that sometimes, but this young man has been here for his entire career, continues to put up amazing numbers, has all these records, is about to be an all-star leader. I believe he'll wind up getting there next year and tying Nash and Walter Davis next year in that, and probably should have already surpassed them. He probably should be sitting at 7 all-star appearances at least. The guy is fantastic, continues to do it. And a night like tonight, you see how important he is to an offense that could not find anything this evening to get going.
Right, and I definitely miss him. And Steve, I know we talked a little bit about it. I don't know if you have more clarity on. They talked a little bit about where he is as terms of like coming back from the injury. I don't know if it was pregame, right? That Coach Ott talked about where Devin Booker is in the recovery from the ankle injury.
Yeah, he said confidently that he feels like Devin has kind of cheated the comeback because of just how good of a healer he is, and that he's kind of really working arduously to get back onto the floor. Now, as far as when he can be expected to return, we don't know. I think was today the day for him to be reassessed, reevaluated. And Jordan said there's not like an actual test that they're going through. It's really just to see where he's at more than anything. And then he just reiterated that he's in a good space and working back to get back on the floor.
What did you hear about Jalen Green? Because I know that for a lot of fans, shocker here, Steven, there was a crash out on social media earlier today because not only was Jalen out, but he was out for a hip contusion and for the right hamstring injury management. We all want to see him. I'm sure the team wants to see him. And I know Jordan Ott said some things pregame about kind of where he stands as he missed another game tonight.
Yeah, he said it was significantly less and just like not at all about the hamstring. Like the hamstring part is going to show up on the injury report just for obvious reasons as far as him coming back and needed to sustain in the rotation, but it was more so the hip, and he said even the lower back as well. Wanting to be careful about that process, knowing that he's coming back from one injury and not wanting any others, especially in that kind of central chain of command with the body, to impact the injury that's most pertinent right now. So it feels very precautionary more than anything. And yeah, that's pretty much the gist of that. But I do understand fans crashing out because it's been one game here, one game there, one step forward, two steps back. I think this was more so an anomaly type situation than it was something to be having your eyebrows raised about.
We talked a little bit about Ryan Dunn earlier on the program. What are your takes on him as of late? And do you think he's getting to that point where the rotation minutes might start dwindling for him with what we've been seeing?
Yeah, I think Ryan played well in the back to back. I feel like he had spark plug moments with the unit that typically sparks things for the Suns in that reserve group. Um, that being said, though, the thing that I'll continue to just keep in mind with Ryan is where is his confidence with the 3-point shot in terms of taking the looks that are created for him? Because the Clippers have been maybe the most consistent team with it in his season and a half in the league, but we've also seen it with teams like the Denver Nuggets at times, and there's been a couple of other teams that have done this. But if Ryan's on the court and you're not as worried about his 3-point shooting, and they're putting a big on him, there's domino effect from that. So obviously tonight it's double big, so the entire lineup is just kind of thrown off some. But in other matchups with other teams that don't have a double big, if they're putting a reserve 5 on Ryan on offense and they're putting a wing on Oso when the Suns are on offense, what does that do for Oso's dribble handoffs and the pick and roll if they're just switching those? And what does it do for the Suns offense in the reserve unit if Ryan Dunn is now going from a periphery player that's trying to find opportunities to cut, crash the glass, and grab offensive rebounds and things like that? What about when he has to operate as a primary screener? What's the rhythm and flow of that? Are you still creating advantages? Like that's the difference. And I feel like we saw it a little bit in the first half of their last game against the Cavs. A little less in the second half, but it was still there. That's something I think that's playoff matchup wise, why I continue to harp on them needing to make one more add to their top 8 because they're clearly going to be in the mix for the playoffs, if not outright making it. You don't want for a lack of addressing things to come back and bite you in the butt long term. So that's just kind of a one instance example of what I'm looking at with Ryan. But in general, I think he's been okay. I think there's a tendency to overreact when it's a 3-point shot specifically that you're looking for from him. The defense has gotten better over the last week and some change now, but that offensive side, the cross matching, I don't know if they can have those things in the lineups that they want to use.
I have one more question for Steven. I want it to be the last one that we asked. So do you guys have any final ones for him?
No, we'll let you ask your one-word question.
So, Steven, you know that I would never compromise your journalistic integrity, and I want you to know that. But I need to cash.
I don't know where you going with this.
I need to cash in a favor with you, okay? And I just need you to agree to it, okay?
Okay.
I need you to tell Dillon Brooks to keep his ass off of these stupid streams.
You starting it that way and then saying I should tell him? No. Not ask. You said tell. I was like, nah, it don't even matter what you're saying after that. Dillon's a grown man. That stream had nothing to do with the game that he had tonight. I'm not trying to hear none of that.
So all I'm saying, I know that we love stats here.
All I'm saying too.
Stats and eye test here. Dillon Brooks in the two games that he's played after being on various streams, he's had 33 points in 2 games. 11 of 38 from the field, 0 of 2 in the game. In those games, we got blown out by the Clippers, and then Jalen Green and Devin Booker both left with injuries against Atlanta. It's bad juju. For the sake of the team, somebody's got to talk to him.
I said what I had to say. I want a question. So
Okay.
what you
Well,
mean?
any final thoughts on the game, Steven?
Yeah, y'all. This, like I said earlier, is they're bound to have a game like this. Considering again how well they've played and the goodwill that they've built up to give themselves some space to have missteps. This is bound to happen. You would rather be on a night like tonight if it just had to be, you know, a team that has a level of respectability to have one of, if not the best player in the NBA right now, in Kawhi Leonard. And I don't think you can say that enough. People aren't acknowledging the season that he's having. Um, this was a direct example of it. But yeah, they'll be fine. I imagine they come out in the game on Tuesday against Portland, which is now a national TV game, and we see them put in that Suns sweat equity and work that we've kind of grown to expect from them. So they'll wash this away, get back to business, and we'll see the team that we've grown to expect be back in play on Tuesday.
Well, Steven, we're looking forward. We finally get you back in studio on Tuesday. Briefly.
Looking forward to it. Tuesday and Wednesday.
Ooh, baby. Tuesday, we got, of course, a late show. That is a 9 p.m. tip-off against Portland. So late night with the boys, pregame, postgame. I don't know if we're doing a watch-along. Maybe we got to talk about it. As of right now.
Might be the only way we can stay up.
As of right now, not one scheduled, but of course we'll let you guys know. Wednesday, we'll be back for a 3 p.m. show. So tomorrow's an off day. Wednesday, 3 p.m. show where we'll do an entire deadline primer. And then Thursday, guess what? You could double dip with PHNX Suns. We're going to be doing a live reaction immediately as the trade deadline is happening. So we'll go live about an hour before the trade deadline. I believe that is at 1 local time. So we'll start around noon, react to all the trades in the NBA, kind of like we did with the All-Star Reserve stuff earlier today, which you can go check out if you missed that on our YouTube channel. And then later that night, for some reason, the Suns play on the trade deadline night. They'll be playing the Golden State Warriors. So we'll be doing double dip there, pregame, postgame on Thursday night, and we'll keep things going as we build up to the All-Star break, which Devin Booker will be a part of. In the meantime, you can follow the show.
Hold on, I gotta do one thing.
Okay.
Braden, love you too.
Okay.
Thanks for being here. Thanks for saying you love me. I appreciate it.
You know what? And I got to say two things to Anime and Hoops. One, asked if Dillon Brooks is talking crazy on the streams. The answer is yes.
No, he was talking Dillon Brooks on the stream.
Yeah, I mean, again, I want Dillon Brooks to be Dillon Brooks, but if you go on another stream, you got to have a good game after that, man. You got to. Like, you got to break the trend. I'm a very superstitious guy. And then Anime and Hoops also asking why I'm still wearing sunglasses. Yes, there are still lingering effects from the concussion. These lights are really bright. So I'm doing all right, except for when I'm directly in front of this. I'd like to be fully here mentally when I'm here. So I'm going to look like a douchebag, but I'm going to sound less like one. No, I'll probably sound more like one. But it'll be more coherent. So
hey, be kinder to yourself.
Thank you. But these are going to be on for the foreseeable future. You can call me the blind mouse like Totri does when I wear this, because I do look blind. In the meantime, if you want to watch a blind man tweet, you can follow us at PHNX_Suns. That's on Twitter. That's on Instagram. Breaking news updates, film breakdowns from Steven. Obviously, everything you need to know as a Suns fan is there. You can follow the Freckled Mamba at Freckled Mamba. You can follow Steven at StevenPG3 at every home game, practice, shoot around. Couldn't make the Valley Suns game today because, of course, it was the same, but still had coverage of Rasheer and Kamal.
The game went at 6, and if it was at 7, I bet you I would have been there, though.
Oh, I know. They got to do something to keep you away from a basketball game.
I was like, I can't be late for pregame.
They
I
couldn't
can't
have flown you in the same helicopter as those guys.
Listen, I was yeah, maybe I need to make that conversation happen. We can.
I mean, if Kaman and Rasheer can do it, man, like just carpool. Damn.
That's true. I'll ask him next time. That's something I will ask. Eric, there you go.
There we go. Look at that. We're ending on common ground. Follow Steven at StevenPG3. You can follow Espo. Catch him on Southwest Bias every weekday morning at Espo. You can follow Gil at GilMcGregor_. You can follow me at ERIKRUBY. Killer Rex in the chat says, Ray Charles, no, more like Eric Charles. Guess what? That's actually my middle name, is Eric Charles. So for once, Killer X, you got something right. We'll talk to y'all on Tuesday.
Somebody give me some blue chew for the mic. Ahoy, ho!
We all silly like the mayor.